What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. We're live on a Monday morning, a rainy, cold Monday morning. Damn it, spring in the Philadelphia area. It sucks. Complain every year about it, but yeah, it's not going to be a great weather week. But we're here, and the Phillies won 2 of 3 over the Dodgers. Yeah, life is good. Shout out to everybody watching live on YouTube right now, our 8 a.m.ers. It's a great way to get involved in the show. Just jump on and say good morning and get involved. If you don't watch the show live and you're watching at a later date, it's perfectly fine. We appreciate it. But get involved in the chat, not the live chat that goes on during the show, but the comments. So comment on what you think that we're talking about here. Of course, like and subscribe on YouTube, and we appreciate that. The show is always Philly with John Marks, brought to you by Bet Parks, and we'll have our Bet Parks parlay of the day coming up later on in the program. But joining us, Tyler Zuli's in the house today. He'll join us in a second. But joining us live in studio, making his debut in studio, we had to go to the bowels of Delco on this Monday morning to get Delco Steve Gallo in here. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, John. How we doing?
Well, you got is that a fresh cut?
Like 9 days.
9, all right. Yeah. So when's the next haircut? You go 3 weeks?
Yeah, usually 3 weeks, every 3 weeks. Unless there's something going on. I
try to go 3 unless there's something going on. But I always will arrange the haircuts around events, 100%. Holidays, things like that.
If I need to go 2 weeks, 4 weeks, it is what it is.
So what are you wearing today? I like the jacket, dig the jacket. You're looking good. What's the Eagles t-shirt that you're wearing?
Got my Cooper DeJean on, got to represent.
Cooper DeJean, last time that Delco Steve was on the show, we announced that his son, who will be born in July, his name is going to be?
Cooper.
The number one Delco baby name currently for boys. And I would say girls, Tyler Zuli. It's a unisex name. You can go Cooper and be a girl. It's not just necessarily a male name.
Yeah, I feel like you go either way.
All right.
So, we were very happy with the decision.
All right. Well...
Yeah. As we said last time, he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, made the decision easy.
Saquon a close second for Delco Steve, but it is Cooper DeJean. All right, listen, we talked on Friday. Tyler and I were like, all right, well, what's going to happen? Is they went 2 or 3? What are we looking for this weekend? And a really, really competitive series. You kind of look at each game individually. Saturday was the Aaron Nola game. More on that coming up in a second as the Aaron Nola elicits a reaction. But Friday night, let's start with Friday night. It's the JT Realmuto night. He throws out a runner to end the 8th inning and to end the game, the 9th inning, and they had just enough. Jesus Luzardo looked great. It was a good win. You left the game on Friday night being like, yeah, Dodgers were undefeated. They came into Philly. We got the win. Life is good. Big win for the Phillies on Friday night. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like that Luzardo was like the one key acquisition for the team this season. His came out with 2 pretty dominant starts, back-to-back outings. And, going up against the Dodgers and you still have 8 strikeouts, it's a good outing.
He was good. Saturday was the Aaron Nola game. Yesterday, this was a really entertaining game. They went up early. They had the Castellanos grand slam. And it's funny, my middle girl, she already put the win column for the Fightin' Phils after the grand slam. And I'm like, whoa. Like, no. And then she's furious when Romano comes in and blows it. And it's like, well, they're the Dodgers. Honestly, I thought they were losing. Once they gave up that lead yesterday, I thought they were losing the game. And man, they just weren't having it. Bryce Harper came out, kind of led the rally to get it started. And then Bryson Stott. We were saying this in spring training. It's like, I need a better year out of Stott. I need clutch hits. I need better stats. I need better visual stats, but I need the big hit. he was able to get it done. So Phils get a win yesterday. Alvarado came in, was able to close it out. Romano,
rough.
Yeah, he sucks. Has
he pitched once well in a Phillies uniform yet?
I think once, Tyler, he had one decent appearance or one semi-clean appearance, but he was not good Friday night. He almost blew it on Friday night. He did blow it yesterday. Phillies were able to come back, but his velocity's down. After the game, Rob Thomson said that he was concerned about his velocity. I mean, I thought it was notable they used him in the 7th inning, and they saved Kerkering for the higher leverage situation. Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Problem is, 7th inning still is, you have a lead, and it's still a high leverage situation. So I would imagine they don't use Romano in any close games right now until he kind of figures himself
until he gets
out.
His confidence back,
because he does not look good. And he's coming off the surgery, coming off an injury, and it's early in the season, so you hope he's able to work his way back to what you were expecting when you signed him, but he was not very good. All right, March 31st against Colorado, he had 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, 11 pitches. Other than that, not so great. So take 2 of 3. You're sitting at 7-2. A really, really good. It was like a character win yesterday. Because you win the first game, you lose the second game, it's a split. Now what are you going to do? It's a series in early April. You can't judge this and say, like, oh, we got him. Come on.
We're going to be the number 1 team come the end of the year. Yeah.
But the contrary is you lose 2 or 3, and people are kind of like, God, it would have been nice to win. So you won 2 or 3, and you had some entertaining baseball. The other thing, and Tyler Zulli was saying this to me before the game, how many hits did Ohtani have in the series there, Tyler?
1.
1 hit?
1 hit.
It struck out, 3 times yesterday and once earlier in the season. So he had at least 4 strikeouts.
And he ill-advised attempted base steal in the 8th inning. What the hell is he doing?
I mean, JT's still got a cannon.
Dude, JT, and then the 9th inning on Friday, and JT throws him out. He's called safe because I was actually in the car for this. I was having to run a late errand. So I'm listening in the car, and he's called safe, and it's like, it's close. Are they going to overturn it? He was called safe on the field. Is there enough evidence? There was enough evidence. He's out, and the game's over on Friday night. So that was a good way to get it started. All right, Saturday. In this portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration. GLATHairMM.com, 610-980-4000. Saturday, Aaron Nola gave you a Joe Blanton start. That's right. 6 innings, 3 runs. That plays out to a 4.5 ERA. And I'm not even fazed by it anymore. Pat Egan, who we're going to have coming up in Block B of the program. So coming up in 15 minutes or so. Pat Egan on Twitter said he's not watching any more starts for Aaron Nola, which I actually support Pat Egan in saying this, because Pat Egan's not saying he's trash. I hate him. He just says he's not going to watch any more of the starts anymore. He's seen enough, which was met with Aaron Nola supporters and furor in his mentions. But Aaron Nola gave you a typical Aaron Nola start. He gets through the lineup once, he rolls, and then second time around through the lineup, he runs into trouble, and he normally gives up a home run, and he did.
He's always going to have that 1 inning that just bites him in the butt. It's just every outing it happens. It's he never has a clean sheet. So if he gets me 6 strong and there's that 1 blow up and the offense can pick it up, great. I feel like that's all they can ask for when it comes to his starts.
Right. I mean, the Phillies scored 1 run. It's going to be hard to beat the Dodgers.
You're not beating many
score.
teams with 1 run, especially a team with the firepower of the Dodgers.
Right. So Nola cruises. He gave up a 2-run homer in the second, but the 6th he gave up another one. I'm not even fazed. I'm not fazed by Aaron Nola. 6 innings, 3 runs.
No, it's what he's been doing for the last 5 seasons.
So here's the contrary to it. And Tyler Zulli, I need your opinion on this as well. When you were signing Aaron Nola, did you think you were signing Joe Blanton, or did you think you were signing Aaron Nola? It was a 7-year contract, almost $25 million a year. It's $172 million total. Because, really what you're getting at this point is now he'll have a start where he'll go 7 innings and give up 1 run. and he'll give you 6 innings pretty much every time he's out there. He certainly gives you 5. When you look at it, go look at his game logs for the last however many years. How many times does he not go 5 innings? Very, 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 very.
He's 100% in
few
innings
and far.
eater.
Right. He's giving you innings. He's healthy. He takes the ball every 5 days. Tyler Zuli, is that the type of player that you give $172 million to?
I think longevity and is super, super important to pitching staffs, and you need a guy who can have the ability to do that. It was a lot of money, but the unfortunate part of the conversation was either you're paying it to him or the Braves or the Cardinals were paying it to him. So if you wanted to internally keep him, that was what you were going to have to spend to get Aaron Nola. I mean, you're talking about a guy who since 2020, and the reason I use 2020 is because that's when Zach Wheeler joined the Phillies, and I think that's an important time frame to keep that in mind. You're talking about a guy since 2020 who leads the league in innings pitched with 861. You're talking about a guy who is second among starters in games started, only one less than Dylan Cease, who leads baseball in that time frame. It's durability, it's consistency, and I understand like you're living and dying with the fact that Aaron Nola gives up a lot of home runs. I think he gave up 32 last year. It's a ton of home runs to allow, and he's given up, 4 through the first 2 games. That's not, like, I don't love that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I do, but I think what you pay Aaron Nola for is the fact that he is going to take the ball every 5th day, and he's going to give you quality, I think, more times than not. Now, the velocity dip is probably the big concern for me as it continues to go in the wrong direction, but I think if you wanted to keep him, that's what you were going to pay.
Yeah, to your point, and it's exactly what I've said about him before. All right, like the velocity is what it is at this point, and he led the league in home runs given up last year, so this should be really no surprise. He signed through 2030, so we'll worry about the future years in the future years, but you still have to take a little bit of a peek of what he's going to look like in 2027. If he's getting it up there early, like low 90s right now, what's that fastball look like when in 2027?
Well, I think the conversation could be said for a lot of the guys on this team right now. It's you sign big-time names and big-time players to these long-term deals because that's what it requires to sign them. And then you're going to live with the back ends of the contracts. You're going to live with the 5th and 6th and 7th year of Nola. You're going to live with year 12 and 13 of Bryce Harper. You're going to live with years 9 and 10 of Trey Turner because the window to win was when you signed these guys. And whether you think it's open, it's closed, it's closing, whatever the case may be, they're in a pocket now where they are trying to reap the benefits of the early portions of the contracts before they do get bad. And you've got 38-year-old Bryce Harper and 37-year-old Aaron Nola. And so right now, it's fine for me now. Yeah, you can certainly have the conversations in 2030 or 2032 or whatever it might be because it's just what you're going to do. You're going to have those conversations.
Yeah, Dombrowski's not worried about 2027, 2028 right now. He's worried about this year. And Nola, by the way, Nola's issue isn't velocity, it's command. And when his stuff's flat, and you can tell when you watch his starts, if he doesn't want to throw the fastball and he's overly reliant on the off-speed pitches, it's because he doesn't have confidence that he can locate his fastball. Because when you're only throwing it 91, 92, guess what? You leave it in the middle of the plate. These guys they're looking for it and they're going to crush it. So, listen, I would not have signed him screw the Braves and the Cardinals. You can go wherever you want to. I would not have signed him to this contract. With that being said, he was drafted by the Phillies. He's one of the best pitchers they've drafted in the franchise history. Steve Carlton wasn't a draft pick, right? And I don't know if I would call it a safe contract, but he's consistent. Sometimes you need a guy on your staff that is just going to take the ball every 5 days and give you quality starts. You don't normally give that guy $172 million. Joe Blanton made $8 million a year on a 3-year contract.
Yeah, it's a whole different league, though, now compared to when Joe Blanton was getting his contracts.
It's not fair to call him Joe Blanton, but
the numbers that these guys are making now on contracts are just exorbitant. It's the prices are going to go up, they're going to go up, they're going to go up. And for someone like, as Tyler pointed out, that's going to take the ball every 5 days and has led the league in innings pitched for the last few seasons, it's that's just the number you pay. It is what it is. That's the market going rate.
What it is what it is. That's what it is.
And then I think you're talking about with going forward in the next year or two, this pitching the pitching coaches have always talked about how they're looking for the horizontal movement more so than the speed. And that's what gets the batters like off balance more so because
Command,
anybody can turn on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball if you can time it up. But if it's moving left and right, it's like so if you get 91 going horizontal 6 inches, that's going to be a lot harder for these guys to hit than 95 straight at them.
Yeah, I think it was Sanchez who dialed back his velocity to improve his command. Now you're seeing him dial back up the velocity because he has more of the command. And if you take Hernandez out of the game yesterday, he has a dominant performance.
Teoscar was just on fire.
Jesus. All right, couple things here with the Phillies. Andrew Painter set on Friday to make his first appearance in a game
since 2022.
Since Tommy John surgery. Yep, since 2022. So he's set to make a start on Friday. Tyler, probably like 2 innings for Painter.
I think that's what they said. They're going to probably start at about 2 and allow him to kind of naturally ramp up. And I guess the plan is still like late June, July type of setting. Rob Thomson keeps saying summer. I mean, that's like it's like half the season. So I have no idea. My guess would probably be sometime after the All-Star break.
Yeah, you got to see how he reacts to it. But I'm assuming he's going to come. He looked great in the Arizona Fall League. So
18 strikeouts and 15+ innings.
Look at you. Were you betting on those? Were you the Bet Park staff betting on those games?
I've been all in on Andrew Painter since we've had him. So
me too.
I'm excited to see him pitch.
All right, so off day for the Phillies. They're 7-2. Just took 2 or 3, so they've won every series so far. Travel down to ATL, the ATL against the Braves. The Braves 1-8 as the Marlins take 2 of 3 from them this weekend.
If they win the series against us, I'm going to be so livid.
Well, it's kind of set up to do that. So their one win, by the way, Tyler Zulli, on Friday night, he picked the Braves money line, which was a heavy money line in our parlay. And he nailed it, and then I nailed Florida. So we had we hit a parlay.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, so they have the one win. Now here's how it sets up. How about this matchup? They're all 7:15 starts, by the way. Who starts games at 7:15 anymore?
It's a Truist Park thing. Apparently, it is a pain in the butt to get into Truist Park, so they had to push them back. Yeah, I looked at that too. It's really quite frustrating.
Yeah, it's just good. The 6:40 starts are great. I love it.
I love the 6:40 starts for when I'm home, but like if I'm going to the game, I would prefer the
it stinks. You're right. You're right. No, it sucks.
7:15 start.
It's a great point. Yeah, 6:40 is like I won't even go to the game if it's 6:40.
Over by 8:30 when I'm sitting on my couch. Great. Fantastic.
I can't tell you how much I love baseball being back because I'm clean. Like yesterday, it was heavy cleaning day for me, and I kind of planned some of my my cleaning and folding and things
around the game.
Baseball, I got it on this TV, I got it on that TV, I have it on listening on the app if I need to. Oh my God, I love it. So Zach Wheeler against Chris Sale.
1-2 Cy Young.
Tuesday. Woo!
Meet up. The first and second place in the Cy Young last year.
Absolutely. Wednesday, oh man, I'm ready to put him in the Cy Young conversation. Taijuan Walker makes the second start of the season.
I was wrong on that last week.
Well, who was heavy betting Taijuan Walker having a great start?
I went and bet Colorado run line.
You did, okay.
or total runs, I should say.
Well, no, our parlay weighed the over in the game.
Yeah,
we took the over. Sure, exactly. Spencer Schwellenbach, who is excellent. So that Atlanta should be a heavy favorite in that game, and then Jesus Luzardo going on Thursday. So like when you have the Phillies starting staff. You have a pretty good starting staff, so it's hard to see the hole in your rotation except for Taijuan Walker at this point. We actually look pretty good.
Yeah, and they were saying in spring training that his command and speed or velocity were back up. So hey, if he's going to get back to what he was 2 years ago, I know the ERA wasn't like great, but he had 16 wins. He's going to give your team a chance to win. It's like, hey, I'll take that for all the money you're paying him.
And then maybe helping the bullpen, maybe
trade him to somebody.
No, I don't want to trade him. No, I'm going to put Ranger. I'm going to put Ranger in the bullpen because if Painter comes back, are you really going to use him out of the bullpen? I don't think the Phillies want to use him out of the bullpen.
I don't think they have an interest in trying to have him at the end of the year be a 1-inning guy and then bring him back next year as a starting pitcher. It's like that's like the plan's always for him to be a starting pitcher, so bring him back and forth.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so coming up, so Block B. The great Pat Egan discusses his Aaron Nola take as he is not watching Aaron Nola play any more starts. He's not going to. We'll talk about that the weekend with the Phillies. Coming up in Block C of the program, we have our Bet Parks Parlay of the day. And then we're gonna play a little back and forth game here. Julio Jones retired from the NFL finally. Where does Julio Jones rank as far as NFL great wide receivers? We'll figure that out coming up. A lot more coming up on the program. Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. Pat Egan next. Back at 2-2. 2-2. All right. Actually, I have to. Damn it! I've got to get the BetParx app out. So I'm not gonna. So I do have the NCAA game as part of my parlay, but just for everybody out there, Florida is a 1-point favorite. That's right. Florida's a 1-point favorite over Houston in the national championship game tonight. Who do we like in the game? Well, I can just tell you like Houston to win the game, but it's going to be a close one. So, this is an opportunity if you get it on the BetParx app, and it's the only app, the only online casino, the only place I would ever place a bet. Do some live betting, all right? So maybe you're unsure about the game, and this is a tough one because Florida has been a lot of people's picks to win. They're 1-point favorites. And then Houston, really an impressive win over Duke on Saturday night. So maybe all right, where can you take advantage? Where can you make some money on the margins here? Live play it. Check it out. So during the game, check out what's going on in the BetParx app. And you know what? It goes to halftime. You know what you can do? Oh, man. Live dealer poker, live dealer blackjack, live dealer roulette. Oh, yeah, right there on the BetParx app. So get to betparx.com and check out everything that they do. betparx.com. BetParx app is only available in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hoo-ah. All right. Is this Ace? Ace is the place? All right, so check it out. This has happened a couple times now over the last couple weeks. And I safely snapped a picture because I was on 76, right after City Avenue and before you get to Belmont, where you have that merge and you have a line of traffic or whatever. And I look over and I'm like, oh, Ace Hardware Home Services. And I seen the van. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I've seen the van a number of times, kind of in the same spot right there. That's right, Ace Hardware Home Services. So Delco Steve is a guy that's very handy. If he lived near me, I would probably ask him for more assistance, but I'm not going to do that. And because I can't fix anything myself, Ace Hardware Home Services is there for you to get started on your next project. Ace Hardware Home Services, check them out. Power of the Ace brand, striving to be the best and most trusted provider of home preservation services. And we're talking about residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services, including plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement. We're talking about with trusted advisors that are best suited for your home and budget. Emergency services available when you need them the most, and service you can trust, and satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. They will make it right no matter what. Your local team. That's Ace Hardware Home Services, serving your community, and they're dedicated to keeping you comfortable in your home. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Hoo-ah! We're back. All right. Had an opportunity late last night after the series was over to speak with Pat Egan. Here he is. Pat Egan, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
What's going on, Pat Egan? How are you, buddy?
Just first time, long time here on the program.
I saw you were a Aaron Nola complainer, which we'll get to coming up in a second.
Yeah.
But overall, 2 or 3, really, really good comeback yesterday. I once they gave up the lead, I said, "Oh, well, there we go." And nope, that bottom of that inning, Bryce leads them off. They get it going. They put a couple runs in, and then they were able to hang on. Alvarado looked good in the 9th inning. A very, very good Dodgers team. You'll take 2 or 3. I'll take 2 or 3. Everybody will take 2 or 3. So, you leave the weekend headed into Atlanta starting tomorrow, feeling good about the Phillies.
I don't know how you could not feel good about them. They've lost 2 games this season. But I think you said it perfectly. Like the way they won that game, you end up jumping out to a 6-2 lead, end up giving the lead back. And I don't know about you, but when the Dodgers took the lead late in the game, I went, all right, that's it.
That's it.
And they found a way. They found a way to get it done. And this isn't the Nationals. This isn't the Rockies. This is, the world champion Dodgers that everybody's scared of that hadn't lost a game. So I don't really care how they did it. The fact that you won the series, that's really all I care about, because true to hand up, I did not think they were going to take the series when the series started.
Yeah, I mean, and they really did it with their offense showed up today, and so I thought Sanchez looked good unless Hernandez was up at the plate. But Luzardo was excellent on Friday night, got great stuff. And then Aaron Nola, and we'll get in Aaron Nola in a second. He gave you the Joe Blanton start, Pat. I don't know what your issue is. 6 innings, 3 runs. That's a 4.5 ERA. He gave you a Joe Blanton start. That's what Aaron Nola is.
Yeah, he did. The difference was Joe Blanton was getting paid $8 million. And Aaron Nola was getting 24.5, and I'm told that Aaron Nola is a number 2. You know,
he is
and
not.
That's the thing is, you know, I had Aaron Nola truthers coming out of the woodwork coming at me because I did a video where I just said, like, look, I'm retiring from watching Aaron Nola pitch. I don't enjoy it. He makes you think that he is a Cy Young candidate for the first 3 innings, and then it's, you know, 2 outs. You think you're good, and then it's bloop single, hit by pitch, 3-run home run. And it's every single game it seems like this is an issue. And for people to champion Aaron Nola after as you said, the Joe Blanton start, which is a 4.5 ERA, by the way, 6 innings pitched, 3 earned run. It's like, what are we doing? Is the bar that low? I also love the people that go, well, you know, it's the offense. No, you're deflecting. It's apples and oranges. You know, I would bring up if the offense was the issue. And in that game, they certainly were. I mean, you could win a game, but it's
but like, so Pat, you're not wrong, but like, this is the player that you have. He's healthy. You already know the canned responses for the Aaron Nola supporters. He gives you quality starts. He's healthy. He's going to throw 200 innings a year. He takes the ball every 5 days, and he's good. I mean, like, he has not been great this year. He's been serving up long balls like he's throwing batting practice. We've seen this before. He gave up the most home runs last year. He led the league in home runs given up. This isn't really that much of a surprise. I mean, I'll say this. He signed through 2030. It's only 2025. What do you think that fastball velocity is going to be in 2027 and 2028? 89? How many home runs do you think he's going to be throwing then? So just be happy that he's able to pitch to a 3.5 ERA, hopefully for the season. I know the Joe Blanton ERA, like you said, is 4.5, but like, I get it. I wouldn't have signed him to the contract either. I would have let him go to Atlanta, but they didn't. He's here. And at least it's not Taijuan Walker, although he looked good.
He looked good, and that's the thing. You know, I got that from somebody. Don't give Aaron Nola a Taijuan Walker start. Taijuan Walker, I know what he is. You know, I'm not going to get fooled by Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker is going to go out there and give me 3 innings where I go, holy crap, like, this dude looks like he's got his good stuff, and then implode. Taijuan Walker, from the jump, you know whether he's good or he's bad. Now, 90% of the time, he's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Aaron Nola, and you know, I had a buddy bring this up, and I think it perfectly sums it up. You're never going to feel comfortable watching Aaron Nola pitch, no matter how the game's going, how he's pitching. You're never going to sit there and be able to sit back and go like, all right, we're good. You can do that with Wheeler. You can do that with Sanchez. You can do that with Suarez. You can do it with Luzardo early on in the season, at least. There's one guy you can't do it with, and it's Aaron Nola, who is vastly overpaid. And you're right, we're stuck with him. And like to quote our great friend Tony Bruno, I don't hate Aaron Nola, I hate the hype. And that's what you get. You get the hype.
But what hype? There's no hype. People can't wait to rip him.
See, I disagree. I think that there are the people out there that still think it's 2018 and he finished 3rd in the Cy Young Award. And because of that year, they don't realize that was 7 years ago. It's like, no, like, he's really, really good. Like, the Aaron Nola defenders were all in my mentions, calling me a loser.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called you a loser. I don't enjoy watching his starts. You didn't hear me say I disagree with anything that you're saying.
No, I know.
Other than treat him like he's Joe Blanton, and you'll feel much better as a Phillies fan. That's all I'm saying. He's not a number 2. Nobody thinks he's a number 2. Can he rise to that occasion? Yeah, like, he's better. He's better than Joe Blanton was. But, like, honestly, what you see more than anything are starts like we saw. He keeps you in the game. He's not going to get rocked. He's not going to kill your bullpen. And that's Aaron Nola right now. Make it $24 million.
I just see him and I get mad. And I feel like we've all probably had those athletes in Philly where you just see their face and it just elicits anger from you. I know Jason Babin was probably one for Eagles fans back in the day. You'd see Jason Babin and you just get angry. But for me, he's gotten to the point where it's tough for me to enjoy anything about him. because I'm sitting there just waiting to get angry. And because of that, I'm good, man. I got Apple, I got Netflix, I got Peacock. Like I can watch something else when he starts. I'm done. I'm retired.
Just watch the first 3 innings. And actually, you have to give me your Apple password because I don't have Apple, so I have to listen to the games on Friday night that are on Apple. But I'm not paying for it. I'm not paying for it. I don't care. I listen. I listen on the radio.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the radio broadcast of the Phillies is the best radio broadcast you're going to get in the city when it comes to play-by-play. I mean, Fransky's incredible, but that Apple broadcast is surprisingly good.
Who was it?
I don't know who does the play-by-play. Ryan Spilborghs does the coloring.
It must be dynamite if you don't know who the guy is. Awesome.
Well, no, it's not necessarily it's the camera is incredible. Like I don't know what they do about the camera. It's really good, and they have really cool stats. And I'm not talking about like XWAR and the exit velo and all that crap, but it's just like they have good numbers that they'll throw out there that are interesting stats, interesting little nuggets. I like the Apple starts, but I understand why you don't want to pay for it.
Nope. I'm just not going to. And if they had regular season Eagles NFL games, I probably would.
I think it's probably only a matter of time before they get that.
Probably only a matter of time, Pat Egan. Edmundo Sosa. For me right now, he's earning at bats everywhere. So if that means third base for Bohm, if that means second base for Stotty, if that means shortstop for Trey Turner, if that means the left field for Kepler, I feel like right now the way he's hitting, and believe me, I understand that once these guys start playing every day, normally the utility guys, they start to get exposed a little bit. I don't know with Sosa, man. He may be an everyday player. He's going to be a free agent. It'll be curious to see how the league values him or if the Phillies try to lock him up as a well-paid backup / utility player. But right now, Sosa brings an aggressiveness and an energy to the lineup that I really, really like. And you don't have to play him every day. I think 2 or 3 starts a week right now for Sosa works for me. What do you think?
I think he's Garrett Stubbs, but with talent. And nothing against Garrett Stubbs with that shot, but like Garrett Stubbs would get up there and he was a vibes guy. You knew that he was keeping the locker room loose. And he was doing nothing at the plate. And Edmundo Sosa, he's a vibes guy because he gets a double and he loses his mind at second base. And he's got an infectious personality that you probably want to come to work with. And I think he is an everyday player. I don't necessarily know if he's an everyday player on a contending team. And I agree. I do think it'll be interesting to see, where he would play. But, I mean, that's a trade that's worked out for both teams because Jojo Romero has developed into one of the best setup men for the Cardinals.
He's good.
And then you've got, Edmundo Sosa, who has given the Phillies the luxury of being that ultimate utility guy where, you don't have to drive some of these players into the ground. I mean, would I like to see Stott get more at bats versus lefties? Like, yeah, I would. But if Trey Turner needs a day off, if Max Kepler needs a day off, Alec Bohm, as you said, use that to your advantage. At this point, I want to see him play every day until the wheels fall off, until the other shoe drops, because I agree with you. Eventually, he's not going to be hitting 500 or wherever he's hitting now. But he's fun to watch, man. Like, ever since day one, when he got to Philly, it was like, there's something about this dude that's just fun.
Yeah, he's the modern version of Tomas Perez or Freddie Galvis or, it's like Freddie Galvis was a starter in this league after he left. He was a starter in this league for a long time. Yeah, so I can see him being that kind of player.
Orioles, I think Freddie Galvis is probably still playing in Japan somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that he's growing a paycheck somewhere. What do you think?
I Taiwan maybe. I could see Taiwan. I could see him being on a Dragon. Maybe a Nippon Ham fighter.
It does not look like he's playing this year. He played in South Korea last year.
I still have my Freddie Galvis.
Oh no, excuse me. He played in Japan last year.
Oh, what team? The SoftBank
Fukuoka SoftBank
Hawks.
Yes.
I'm all over it. That's what you get when you bring me on the program. You get Fuqua SoftBank Hawks knowledge.
You know what else you get? I was thinking about this, and then you started ripping Aaron Nola. Were we the first people in Philadelphia to see Aaron Nola pitch for the most part?
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Every time I think about the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, I think about me and you going to watch his first start in Lehigh Valley.
In Lehigh Valley, yep.
I'm sure there was probably some expose done, from somebody that, went to Reading and interviewed him or something. But No, I mean, you made that special trip when you first started doing the morning show with Anthony to go see him pitch. And he faced off against Derek Norris, who I believe had just gotten traded to the Toledo Mud Hens from the Blue Jays for David Price.
It was no, it was before that. No.
Look it up.
I guess it is because his first year with the Phillies was 2015, so that would have been later that year. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, you're gonna question my Daniel Norris take after my SoftBank Hawks?
Damn, dude, this is his 11th year in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that like you've officially like he's just worn out his welcome with you. You can't take watching the same thing kind of over and over again. But if you go back and you look through the history of the Phillies, how many pitchers that they drafted are better than Aaron Nola in their Phillies career?
Yeah, not many. I mean, it's Cole Hamels.
Well, Cole Hamels isn't better than Aaron Nola.
I would take Cole Hamels over Aaron Nola in a heartbeat. So my problem, and one of my problems real quick with Aaron Nola is, and I brought this up, it's the roller coaster year. So when you look at his stats from 2018, 2018, he had that unbelievable year where he finished third in the Cy Young. And it literally, ever since then, is every other year he's good. Every other year he's bad. Last year he had a 3.6 ERA, and that was okay. But this is shaping up to be the bad year. I mean, historically speaking, it's every other year, and this is not going to be the good year. So going into that with the knowledge that I have, which is literally just baseball reference, I'm not going to subject myself to watching that.
All right. Luzardo, we mentioned earlier, he was excellent. He's been excellent so far this year. It looks like a great trade by Dombrowski. And then Chris Sanchez yesterday, and he got a no decision, but 9 strikeouts in 5 2/3, and his stuff is just electric. Listen, you're going to give up home runs, and you're going to give up runs, but his stuff, and like we're talking about Aaron Nola, he knows how to pitch. The velocity is not once what it was. When his fastball's flat, that's where he gets into trouble. When he doesn't want to throw the fastball and he has runners on base, that's when he gives up the home runs. You don't have that kind of problem with Christopher Sanchez. Painter's supposed to start throwing in minor league games next week or this week.
Yeah, Clearwater.
And Taijuan Walker, we'll see what he looks like in his second start, but I like the idea of Taijuan Walker and Ranger Suarez kind of owning that one spot, because Ranger, especially coming off a back injury, can you really count on him for more than 5 or 6 runs or 5 or 6 innings a game? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's difficult because, I mean, back-to-back years you've gotten into October and he's been leaking oil. And I'm kind of cool with him taking as much time as he needs so that when you finally do get into October this year, he's not leaking oil because he started the season healthy. But
I like the idea of him in the bullpen.
Well, really? Why?
Because they're already lefty heavy in their starting rotation with Luzardo and Chris Sanchez. He's not going to be. Is he a starter in the playoffs?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so. But once again, I mean, this is a guy that
who's not starting then.
Oh man,
his own versatility, and I'd rather have Ranger Suarez pitch than a lot of guys because I trust him. He's got stones, right? But are you bumping Nola from the starting rotation? That ain't happening unless he's not good.
That's the thing is like, I think we all know what I would do with Aaron Nola. I think when he proves that he's a 4.7 ERA this year, I think, yeah, but will they do that? No, because they're dug into the fact that he's a quote unquote number 2. Luzardo, I've loved what I've seen from him. I still think that's Ranger's spot in terms of playoff baseball, and he's earned the right to keep it until proven otherwise. But it's a good problem to have. I mean, if we're talking in October and you're bringing Ranger Suarez out of the bullpen, if you get that's not bad.
I just think that they're Romano, and it's early. He looks like he sucks, and Kerkering to me still isn't the high leverage guy that you want out there throwing in the 8th inning. He's been good. He came in the finale against the Dodgers. It wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? But he also gave up some hits. Yeah. So like Kerkering, but I need a high leverage guy, and you can't trust you certainly can't trust Alvarado for an entire season. At least you don't. So I look at Ranger as, hey, I know he's got stones. I know he's versatile. I know he can get guys out. I don't know. It's good, like you said, it's a good problem to have.
I think Romano. I worry that he is this year's Juris Familia. I think he might have gotten the same amount of money that Familia got a couple of years ago from the Phils. and he's just cooked. And come, July, he's probably going to be looking for another job. I mean, it's early, but he looks really, really bad. But the good news is if they need a high leverage guy, they really need one. They're out there to be had at the trade deadline. And I think Dombrowski would address it. He's addressed it before when he got Ian Kennedy, albeit it didn't really work out.
Estevez last year.
Yeah, that didn't work out at all. He was horrible. So, I mean, maybe you don't trust Dombrowski because the guys that he's gotten to bolster the bullpen have sucked. But I still think that Ranger Suarez has deserved the right to start. I hear what you're saying with it, though. And I think it's one of the reasons why they went out there and they got Luzardo is for this very reason. Because, look, the reality is, like, we all thought Painter was going to be in the rotation like a year ago. And then he had the surgery. And then it was like, well, we all know he's going to be on an innings limit. And, so maybe Painter actually comes up later on in the season and he comes out of the bullpen like a David Price did in 2008 for the Rays.
Yep, multiple inning guy. All right, Pat, have you recovered from the head injury, from the upper body injury?
I
did.
You
okay now?
Yeah, I played in 2 games, scored 2 goals by accident, and no symptoms. We're all good. So I got a game tomorrow. We push on.
So if people don't know, Pat plays in a men's hockey league, and someone went headhunting on him because he looked down and dropped his chin, and it was Scott Stevens to Eric Lindros all over again. It really, really was. So was the player that put the hit on you, was he suspended or thrown out of the league?
He was suspended, and I didn't ask for the suspension, but he was suspended. I was told by the captain, and that league starts on Tuesday. So I play Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday this week.
Oh man!
I'll get you tickets, Johnny. I'll leave them at Will Call for you and the family, so you can enjoy some affordable family fun. But I've been told he was suspended, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I'm not exactly a player where you're gonna intentionally take out. So I don't think it was intentional on his part. But I mean,
all right.
I didn't take it personally, but then again, I don't really remember it.
Right?
So,
yeah, because he knocked you out on the ice. All right.
It happens, Johnny. It happens.
All right, go Phils. Go Phils. Phils Braves. Let's go.
All right. See you, Johnny.
All right, there he is. Pat Egan, everybody. Listen, we're coming back 2-2. After this, it's the Bet Parks Parlay of the day. We're on fire. We're on the plus side. We're back in 2-2. Philly with John Marks. All right. So we're back with GLAT Hair Restoration. That's right. So we have a before and after picture that, they like to put the before and after pictures up there just so I don't really need to say anything, right? There it is. Look at the before. All right. Pictures are taken about the similar time. Shave my head because you can see the receding hairline. Then look at the after. Look at the results right there, right? So here's what you won't see when maybe you're on an Instagram algorithm like I am, or on Facebook or wherever, and you're seeing the ads, and it's like, look at this guy's hair. Oh, his hair looks great. What did it look like before? Oh, I don't want to show you that, right? So like, there's no such thing as a miracle, right? There's just science, right? And that's GLAT Hair Restoration. That's really the innovations when it comes to hair in 2025. So all stages of hair loss, maybe you were like me, where you're just starting to see receding hairline. Boom, I took care of it right away. Maybe you're just starting to thin and you're saying, you know what? I don't want to lose any more hair. GLAT Hair Restoration, again, has something for all stages of hair loss. So there's that. And then hair restoration, which I had, where I took care of everything. So you don't have to worry about it. But still, like, there's a maintenance phase when it comes to your hair. So if you don't want to keep your hair, that's fine. You can shave it. It looks great, right? For some people, it didn't look great for me. I looked scary. All right. GLAT Hair Restoration, the most experience in the business when it comes to hair. It's all they do. All they do. Call them today. Speak to their hair team. It's 610-980-4000. You can also text it, 610-980-4000 or glathairmm.com, glathairmm.com. Hoo-ah. All right. Let's talk about Rothman. So I've been doing twice a week workouts. Delco Steve he's like CrossFit weirdo maniac nonsense. But if you're active and you like doing that, but you're not doing it, right? Because the day after your knee hurts, the day after it's your shoulder or your elbow, your joints are aching, your back is screwed up, right? Rothman's gotcha. Rothman Orthopedics, practicing specialized care. It's been their passion for over 50 years. High quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research that leads to new treatments and better outcomes. So let's say your elbow's bothering you, or your hip, or your shoulder, or whatever. They have a team of doctors that's laser focused on their specialty. So hip, knee, spine, you name it, they have a team for each body part, and right in your backyard, right? Rothman Orthopedics, over 30 plus in New Jersey and Pennsylvania offices. Whether you're talking about, I've used the urgent care up in Limerick a couple times, right? Everything that you need for you is right there. They specialize in you, right? So again, full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics. From the diagnosis, the discharge, everything you need, x-rays, bracing, MRI, PT. I did physical therapy for my shoulder up at the Limerick location. 6 weeks after I was diagnosed and I did physical therapy, my shoulder's been great, and I haven't had any problems since. Rothman Orthopedics, specializing in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today. Hoo-ah! All right, we're back. Philly with John Marks. Live on a Monday. Delco Steve is in studio. Delco Steve doesn't have to worry about GLAT hair restoration.
Thankfully not.
The hair's looking. How's your pop's hair look?
Pop's hair is great.
Yeah, so you're good.
He gets the fro-y though. I got the long straight hair. Like
he's got the curly hair.
Yeah, if he goes out, he just keeps going.
So he's got to keep it. Yeah. All right. There you go.
The one thing we don't have in common. Other than that, we're twins.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
All right. So coming up, something with Julio Jones, and is he a top wide receiver? But first, it's time for the Bet Parks Parlay of the day. All right. So, Steve, we got to the plus side. Tyler Zulli with a ballsy Braves money line for their first win of the season. They were minus 240, but still. So he hit that. And then Saturday night, Tyler, because it's the weekend, we can pick two games that aren't on the same night. I went with Florida and the money line. I didn't want to mess around with the point spread. They would have covered anyway. But so we hit. So we are now on the plus side. We're plus $80. All right. So tonight we're gonna do because Delco Steve's on the show and he is a legitimate degenerate. Just before the show, he's talking about I had this, I had this, I had that, I had this, and it's like, wow, he's not kidding. So we're going to do a 3-leg parlay. Tyler Zulli, I'm going to let you lead off with what you have going for us tonight.
All right. I am going to Pittsburgh, or going to St. Louis to the game between the Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals, because Carmen Mlodzinski is starting for the Pirates tonight. You've heard of him, right? It's a real person.
Carmen Mlodzinski?
He's made 76 appearances, but he only has 6 starts. He's a reliever who they're stretching out into being a starter. I think one guy in particular who's had a really hot start to the year for the Cardinals is Lars Nootbaar, and now he's 1 for his last 10, but he has 2 hits or more in 6 of the first 7 games of the season. At plus 120, I am going to take Lars Nootbaar at over 1.5 total bags. Whether I get 2 hits or a double, it doesn't really matter to me. But I am going to take Lars Nootbaar over 1.5 total bags.
So, Steve, just so you know, I wouldn't have known this. Walks don't count.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Walks do not count.
I was just explaining to my girlfriend last night that walks don't count in on-base props. Very annoying.
How would I have thought? All right, so the 1.5. So you're taking that he gets 2.
Correct. Mlodzinski gave up 7 hits and 3 2/3 against the Rays in his first start. So Cardinals have hit the ball pretty well to start the year.
And we're complaining about Aaron Nola with Lazinski. Imagine being somewhere else. All right, so that's leg number 1. Delco Steve, leg number 2.
All right, well, since Tyler took some plus money, I'll go a little safer. I'm going to take Kodai Senga over 6.5 strikeouts, minus 148 against the Marlins. He pitched against the Marlins last week, had 5 innings with 8 strikeouts. So I'm going to go back to the well on that and say he dominates them again. Marlins have a pretty high strikeout rate. They're averaging over 9 strikeouts a game. Kodai's got the ghost fork ball. But I think it's a winner.
It almost sounds too good. You presented that so well. You did. Now, by the way, how do you do on your bets? What would you say lifetime your?
Oh, I'm very much a 50-50 guy. It's
okay.
I probably am in the negative for the parlays. And
well, yeah, they love when you parlay.
Oh, if your parlay's your main way of playing, you're probably in the negative for.
I have a friend who uses a different app. I would only use the BetParks app, of course. Use a different app, and you can very easily see lifetime what you've won or lost.
Yeah, mine's negative.
His isn't just negative. He could have bought
negative.
a house for cash.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm not that bad.
All right.
I think if you just do my straight bets, I'm probably 50-50.
I am going money line Houston to win the game tonight. Delco Steve was looking at Florida. I'm going Houston. I mean, to me, they seem like a team of destiny. How they came back against Duke, and I know there was a crappy foul call on Cooper Flag. It was terrible. It pissed me off too, but I'm not rooting for Duke. Houston and Kelvin Sampson, man, they just seem like, to me, it's going to be a very close game tonight. So I'm going to take Houston on the money line. This $50 wager will win us $312.
I'll always take a nice positive on that.
Yep. All right, so 50 win 312 on whatever Tyler. I don't even remember what Tyler had
Bars
said.
Newt Bar. Yeah, that's where we're at.
He's a baseball bot. Tyler, he's awesome. All right, so there you go. That's our BetParks parlay of the day. All right, so Julio Jones officially announced his retirement on Friday. Like, great career, first ballot Hall of Famer. Do we agree with that? Julio Jones, first ballot Hall of Famer.
I would say so.
Yeah, he was I was never and it was probably because I had him in fantasy a couple times and he just never scored a lot of touchdowns and he would get hurt a lot. So I always was like kind of like, F Julio Jones. But I mean, he was a dominant wide receiver in his prime, for sure. A.J. Brown said after he announced his retirement, quote, the best wide receiver to play the game, which, so he says, the best wide receiver to play the game in my book taught me how to play the position before we even met. And went on, they had a personal relationship after that. And I don't think he really believes that he's the best wide receiver. Maybe the best wide receiver he's seen with his jaded eyes or whatever. But the point is that he was a great wide receiver. But where does he stand? And if you're doing a top list of wide receivers, where would Julio Jones be on that list? This is not yardage. This is not necessarily stats. This is an eye test. So I've come up with this. You and Tyler are going to go back and forth. I have 10 players that are 100% better than Julio Jones, and I'm not being like, that's an interesting one and thinking about it. It's knee-jerk reaction. He's better than Julio Jones. I have 10 of them, and these are modern-day receivers.
And just wide receivers, correct?
Just wide receivers, no tight ends, no anybody else that caught the ball, no running back, just wide receivers. There are 9 wide receivers that are no longer playing and 1 current wide receiver that made my list. And the current wide receiver, a lot of people are going to say debatable. To me, right away, I was like, no, I'll take him over Julio Jones.
Wow, okay.
All right, so there's 1. The rest of them are there. So, Tyler, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go back and forth.
The best receiver of all time, it's not debatable. It's Jerry Rice. I don't think there's an argument anywhere. It's Jerry Rice.
What Jerry Rice did at age, he had 1,000-yard receiving after age 40. I got to pull it up real fast because he just was that good. Let me see.
It was with Oakland, right?
I was going to say with the Raiders.
So at the age of 40, he had 1,211 yards and 92 catches. Now keep this in mind. That was in 2002. It still was not a dynamic passing league in 2002.
No.
Imagine what numbers he would put up today.
A lot of those guys would think about. Well, we can keep going down the list.
Yeah,
they would all be insane now.
Everybody knows Jerry Rice is number 1 on the list. But take a second peek at his numbers. At age 40, he had 1,200 yards for the Raiders. Yeah,
like you said, in a running league at that point in time.
And 7 touchdowns. All right, Delco Steve, to you.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, I think, and Tyler's going to give who's number 3?
Tio.
Right. So I would say most people would agree they're the top 3. And I would go in that order. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Tio.
Yeah.
Randy Moss a little bit above T.O. I love T.O. I would rather watch T.O.
I think Randy was more dynamic.
Yeah, Randy had those. He hated playing in Oakland. And remember, didn't the Patriots give up a 4th-round draft pick for Randy Moss? And then he went back to being the Randy Moss in
25
Minnesota?
touchdowns with Tom Brady.
But, from being a rookie with Minnesota his first year with Randall, where Randall would just throw the ball as far as he could, and he would run underneath everything. Oh, my God, he was awesome.
And he had one of the craziest, the 3 catches for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's one of my favorite stat lines in any game.
I somehow got into, it was some account on Instagram. I ended up recently getting into that rabbit hole of watching that. All right, Tyler Zuli, the first 3 are gone.
I think it's Steve's turn.
Mine.
Oh, it's you? Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson did not have as long of a career, or did not have a long career. Easily one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen.
He's the Barry Sanders of wide receivers. Just happens to be that they're both Detroit Lions.
Yeah, they both played for a crappy organization where they said, "I'll rather retire than keep playing for you losers." Oh, it's a damn shame. All right, Tyler.
All right, one of my all-time favorite stats is this one particular receiver. At one point, I don't know if it's still true, but at one point had more tackles than drop passes in his career. Larry Fitzgerald is on that list.
So they are my top 5. They're the top 5 on my list for sure. Absolutely. And Larry Fitz, who the hell did Larry Fitz play with other than a couple of years of Kurt Warner?
Old Carson Palmer.
God, man. Who actually, Carson Palmer put up some good numbers for
those
that short
Cardinals
time in
teams
there.
with Carson Palmer were always in contention with Bruce Arians as head coach.
Yep. All right, so we have the top 5 are gone. 5 more. And again, this is my subjective list. I don't even have to think about it. Because there's other names on there that once you think about, you will pick. But Delco Steve, who do you got?
Marvin Harrison.
Number 6 on my list. Correct. Actually, you know what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, so I actually have 9 on my list, not 10. I have 9 because I put Calvin Johnson twice for some reason. So he's 8.
That good.
Yeah, he really is. There's 8, and then there's a current player.
So
All right.
those 6, I think, are the 6 that you're going to run off. I think now is where we're getting into like
The nitty-gritty.
debatable territory. Like,
Correct.
I'm curious how you perceive Isaac Bruce.
I had to look into it, and after looking into it, I was like, it's close. But I had to look into it. He did not make the list.
Okay.
It's a good answer because I definitely I considered it, but I had to think too much about it. Delco Steve?
I'm going to take a shot at your current player, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is correct.
Wow.
11 straight
That is
seasons.
not who I would have thought it was.
11 straight seasons to start his career with 1,000 yards. He's so underrated. And it's not like he's played, has he played for great quarterbacks down there? Tom Brady, obviously, for 2 seasons, Tom Brady was...
Oh, yeah, Winston, and, now, Baker's
Baker's
fine.
good. Baker's fine. Baker's good. Yeah,
But yeah,
agreed.
besides Jameis, who was before him? It was, I don't know, Hodgepodge. They were obviously a bad team because they were drafted number 1 overall to get Jameis.
Never as dominant. When Julio Jones has 2 or 3 seasons where he was straight up dominant, like 16, 1,700 yards, things like that. Mike Evans, 11 years, just like a... And he's had some injury issues or whatever. It doesn't stop his production. Mike Evans.
Always on the field.
Good answer. Good answer, Delco Steve. All right, back to you, Tyler.
It's a really good answer because I thought your active player was going to be DeAndre Hopkins.
That was my that was my first shot. And I was like,
Had to think about it.
All right, so now I'm kind of in a spot where I don't know. Like, are you going?
How many do you have left?
You have 2 or 3 left.
There are one's going to be tough. 2, so 2.
Are you going? All right, let's go. How about Marvin Harrison's teammate? Are you going Reggie Wayne?
A close consideration. I had to look at it, and when I looked at it, I was like, I would really need to closely consider that. Reggie Wayne's really good. At his height, he wasn't as dominant as Julio Jones, but it's tough. It is. I'd probably lean Reggie Wayne, but not a no-brainer. All right, former Eagle.
Chris Carter?
Chris Carter. Chris Carter has double the amount of touchdowns that Julio Jones has.
That's a harder one for me because I don't remember
Agreed.
Chris as well. But it's like I don't know. I don't see him being the physical presence that Julio is. But like I said, I
Agreed.
watch him as well.
No, agreed. Chris Carter had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons of double-digit touchdowns in a row. 11 touchdowns with the Eagles in 1989 too. To me, Chris Carter, he's just a better all-around wide receiver. All right, one more, and a lot of people would say this is debatable, but not with me. He played 1 season outside of the Raiders. And when I say the Raiders, because he played for Los Angeles and Oakland, the Oakland Raiders.
It's Tim Brown.
Tim Brown it's probably an age thing. Tim Brown, all day, better wide receiver than Julio Jones. Better career. As dominant, no. Julio Jones didn't score touchdowns, and he missed a lot of time.
He had a lot of seasons where he had like 4 touchdowns. And like you said, for fantasy, believe me, I know.
For being an explosive, dominant wide receiver, it's tough, man. By the way, we didn't do it. Shout out to everybody watching on TV. AllPHLY.com to watch the rest of the show. It's overtime. There it is. Yep. So some of the other players that you would have to consider here. The first name that actually came to my mind and a lot of other people's, Andre Johnson.
Yeah, that was where my borderline kind of like where he was probably as physically dominant of a receiver as Julio, but if he had the quarterback play that some of these other guys had, that he easily could have moved up that list.
Yeah, I would take Andre Johnson, but I really was like, I know he has more yards, but I got to take a look. Some other guys that like Isaac Bruce was one that was considered certainly. What's another one here? Anquan Bolden just didn't like. He didn't pop. Very good wide receiver, but he didn't pop like Julio did.
The B version of Mike Evans, like where he had a very good, solid career, but it wasn't the upper echelon where Mike Evans, I think, clips that.
Some people would say Steve Largent should be on the list. I am not one of them. When he retired in 1989, he was the leader. He was the receiving leader or whatever. And it's hard to judge a guy that started playing in 1976. You know what I mean? But he has like 30 some more touchdowns than Julio Jones did. You know, for being a shorter white wide receiver in the NFL, 5'11" for that. So he would have been good in any era. He was just a very good receiver. Other than that, like some people would say Michael Irvin. He didn't have the yardage numbers. You play in the 80s. It's tough to, you know.
I got one for you.
Yep.
If he didn't totally lose it, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown's a first ballot Hall of Famer if he doesn't suffer from CTE or he's just a bad guy or a combination of both.
Taking his head off.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was as good a wide receiver as really you're going to see out there. Any more that you considered there, Tyler Zulli?
Yeah, I mean, the one guy I was just kind of looking at the numbers, and maybe you would think he's a little bit of a compiler towards the end. Steve Smith has like 14,000 career receiving yards. He's in consideration. I think, another guy who didn't play with a ton of really good quarterbacks, like Jake Delhomme, was probably his best quarterback until Cam Newton came. And by the time Cam Newton was in Carolina, I think Steve Smith was probably trending downwards a little bit in his career. He was still very, very good, but I think he's a guy that, really didn't have a ton of great quarterback play.
I mean, to your point, he didn't play in the prolific passing offense that like you look at what Tyreek Hill's doing, the yardage numbers he's putting up these days in Kansas City and now Miami, right? Like, and even like Steve Smith's first year in the NFL is 2001. That's a friggin' long time ago, man. It's a quarter of a century from his first season. I interviewed him at the Super Bowl in 2017, 2018. And man, is this dude competitive. Like he's this guy. I love Steve Smith. I love Steve Smith. He's a maniac, Steve Smith. He was really, really
definitely going to punch you in the mouth on the field kind of player.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when you look at the yardage numbers, Deshaun Jackson, God, if he would have been a little bit better at the end of his career, he's not that far off when you look at yards, man. Like Deshaun has more yards than Chad Johnson. And, and Keyshawn. Now, Keyshawn's not a Hall of Famer, and not as Deshaun probably. But damn, I mean, Deshaun Jackson put up some real numbers. 11,000 receiving yards.
And for someone of his size who played 14 years in the league, pretty impressive.
And he wasn't a slot guy that got a ton of receptions and things like that.
All the time.
Yep.
So one more guy, obviously small sample size because he's only been in the league for 5 years, and it's a different league, so the numbers are a little bit inflated. But after 5 years, Justin Jefferson has 7,400 receiving yards. If he plays 5 more years just on the base and gets another 7,400, that puts him at 14-8, which would put him at 8th all time. Like, comparing the passing yard numbers can become a little bit of a skewed thing, as you guys mentioned, when you're talking about guys who, Tim Brown, for example, or, it's why with Jerry Rice getting 22,000 yards in an era that wasn't like now where it's throw all the time. That's so unbelievably impressive. But Justin Jefferson is going to be in the top 10 by the time his career is over if he keeps up the way he's playing.
Lock with less injury or whatever. And remember, Jalen Reagor, the Eagles drafted ahead of...
Is it crazy to say that after like 5 years, it feels like his career is on the trajectory of Hall of Fame already?
No, it is.
Him and Jamar Chase.
He would have to... honestly, at this point, NFL careers, you don't need a baseball. You don't need to hit 500 home runs. You don't need 3,000 hits, right? Like in baseball, you need to do it longer. he could pretty much be above average for the rest of his career, and he's going to get enough yards and things like that to where, I mean, who are the other, like AJ I don't think is going to have the numbers in the modern era. Like at some point you're going to have to correct it and say, okay, because you're playing now, 1,000 yards isn't what it was 15, 20 years ago. Throwing for 4,000 yards today isn't what it was 15 or 20 years ago, right? Having 100 receptions today, it's the same thing, right? Running the ball for over 1,000 yards is more impressive than it was 15 or 20 years ago. So what Saquon did this past year is crazy to run for 2,000 yards. It's like Eli Manning. You look at his numbers, Phillip Rivers, look at his yardage numbers, and it's like, oh, here's a lock to make the Hall of Fame. Is Phillip Rivers really a Hall of Famer, or is he more of an above-average player that's a stat compiler?
Well, like when you think about going for 1,000 yards, so CeeDee Lamb has 6,300 receiving yards in his first 5 seasons, and he's currently ranks 207th all-time. If he goes for 1,000, which seems like he should, right? He's that good. If he goes for 1,000 and gets to 7,300, now there's guys in between that are still active, but he'll jump from like 207 to like 140 in a season. There's like 60 guys in a 1,000-yard sample size,
right?
That he's going to go from 207 to 140 just by going for his average of 1,100 yards a year.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Roman. Delco Steve, thanks for coming in, man.
Appreciate it. Anytime, man.
This is fun. All right, we'll get you in our regular rotation because the next time you come in, we're going to play Did It Happen in Delco?
God. As long as it's nothing I did, that's fine.
No. That's the game coming up next time Delco Steve joins us. Did It Happen in Delco? And shout out to everybody out there that was watching live, our 8 a.m. Emmers. Thank you. Our Mad Chatters that join the show live every morning. But if you don't get a chance to watch it live, that is perfectly okay. You can watch whenever you want to. Just like and subscribe on YouTube, PHLY, and comment. Like it, yes. Subscribe, yes. Comment. Tell us what you think. This discussion that we had with the wide receivers. Tell us what you think. Aaron Nola, are you going to refuse to watch Aaron Nola start? Are you doing a permanent Lent on Aaron Nola like Pat Egan is? And also, of course, to our audio-only podcast listeners, I know Delco Steve is a big podcast listener. Wherever you find your podcasts, just search Philly Philly with John Marks, and you can listen to the show. Tyler gets it up there very quickly right after we're off the air. Switch over to Anthony. He is live right now. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 8 a.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.